That is what shut absolutely everything down. And this is in 1999. So you can imagine the stories the doctors were telling me at the age of 19 of the possibilities of getting it back and all of these other things. So, I mean, these guys vacuumed hope right out of the room for me, basically. It took me a couple of days to really kind of tune into it, but I kept hearing, we're coming for you. Resist. Keep resisting. Try to escape. You're not forgotten. You're not alone. There's something else you can do. Keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. For me, getting past all the things that I had got through in the military, including what I was dealing with at that point in time, I had no idea that breath was going to be such a huge piece of my journey. Yeah, it was just everything wrapped into one moment. Like I felt like I came home, which is...
Welcome back to our show, Empower Your Life with Cindy Marie. This is the show where we focus on expressing, not impressing, where we celebrate being real or authentic, building resilience or strength, and learning how to live life full of purpose and meaning. We're here to help you unlock your full potential, live and create the life where you're meant to live, and be unstoppable. Today's guest is someone that I am truly grateful to know. I've got to know his work through a great friend of mine. And since then, his teachings become part of the many tools that I use to keep me moving forward on the mission of authenticity and empowerment, which is this show is all about. And his work has been a great and big help on that journey. So he is a U.S. combat veteran, a breathwork pioneer, and the founder of Willful Warrior Movement, a global healing mission rooted on science and ancient wisdom. After surviving a serious accident and deep trauma, he rebuilt his mind, body, and purpose through the power of breath. Now he leads this nervous system reprogramming and trauma integration work that's changing lives in 49 countries and counting. His mission is super crystal clear, helping people to breathe, believe, and rise. In today's episode, you'll discover more on how to own your power, let go of those limiting beliefs, and find the calm in the middle of life's challenges and more. So I'm super excited for you to meet him. Without further ado, let's all welcome our next guest, Mr. Leland Holgate Sr. Leland, welcome to our show, and thank you so much for being here with us.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here with you.
Yes. And again, how are you doing today? You had event, right?
I did. Yeah. We did a birthday breath event on Sunday for my birthday, and I released the newest medicine wheel, which is a powerful breath ceremony. So it was an amazing day. I felt like I was going to evaporate into the universe.
Well, for many people that have yet to know more of your journey, more of what you do, we have this tradition on our show, which I really love, where we ask our guests to share their beginnings, their humble beginnings, their journeys, and how they got to where they are today. And yours is super inspiring and incredible. And, you're on the hot seat now. So share with us your biggest moments, part of the journey that you truly believe would be helpful for most of our audience. And the stage is yours. So share with us your story.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny because we don't recognize sometimes until we get older that the journey started as a child, right? And there's so many times I skip right ahead to my military service and all these other things, but I failed sometimes to leave out or include what happened in childhood, because many of us have pretty challenging childhood. So that's how it started for me. And for me, I was born and raised in Vicenza, Italy. Io sono l'italiano. And it was the typical story, right? My dad was Special Forces Army and got stationed in Italy, met my mom, and voila, here I am. So it was interesting, to say the least, to be a child of a special forces operative.
Mm.
Immediately as a child, I got to see the impact that military service has on people. And it was interesting because from the age of 5 years old on, I always spoke of my father, hold him in high reverence and love him, still hold him in my heart. But it was like living with the most loving person you've ever met, but then also living with the nightmare of your dreams. It was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, here's this family man that's absolutely loving, goes out of his way for myself and my other 4 siblings. But then the smallest of things could just set him off. So from a very young age, I became a space holder. I was immediately introduced into holding space for people. And of course, at a very young age, it's confusing. It's traumatic. It can be a lot. So yeah, that was a good portion, pretty much the entirety of my childhood, just making sure that I could extend his rage to me. And as the oldest, protect my mother, protect the other 4, and just keep his focus on me. So that was the first 17 years of life, which fed me into, I got tired of being told what to do, so I joined the military. 17 years old, I was like, I'm getting out of here. I can't do this anymore. And I joined the military. So out of the frying pan into the fire. And at the age of 17, he refused to sign the paperwork if I went Army or Marines. He wanted me to stay away from combat. He knew what he was. He knew what he had dealt with. So I joined the Air Force and became a C-130 loadmaster. And in basic training, the Special Forces guys come in. We call them pararescue and combat control. So I tried out, and I was great. I had what it took. So of course, I'm excited that I'm getting involved at the combat level, now being placed into a C-130 loadmaster role where I was going to be working Special Forces people, taking in the Rangers and dropping them, in places all over the world. So you can imagine he was a little upset. He was proud of me, of course, but I remember that phone call in basic training like it was yesterday. He just went silent for a while, and then the last thing I heard was, "You idiot, you have no idea what you just got yourself into."
Yeah, I guess it's normal. Sorry to cut you. I guess it's normal.
No, please.
Because as a parent, we or they just want the best for you. And as what you said, he knows already what is it, but sometimes we have to experience those most of the times. So go on.
Yeah. You have to go through it yourself, right? As a parent myself, just like you said, I try to keep my children from experiencing some of the things that I've experienced. But I also recognize if they're wanting to go that way, well, then they've got to figure it out on their own. And all I can do is be as loving as possible and supportive on their journey.
Yeah.
So yeah, and he wasn't wrong. He was not wrong, because from that point forward, I entered into what's called SEER training, which is survival, evasion, resistance, and escape. So I'm sure everybody's watched all the movies, G.I. Jane, and all the movies where they're beating the crap out of us and teaching us how to be a prisoner of war and teaching us how to evade the enemy inside of their own territories and things. So that was like my first taste of, oh my God, okay, now I see what the hell he's talking about. Like the weapons training, I became an expert marksman. Everything they were teaching us to be, they literally broke me down and built me up to be this destructive killing machine. It was they've got it down in the military. They know how to completely wash away the life before and to build you up the way they need you to be. So it was interesting right out of the gate to be part of that. And then moving from there, of course, there's the jump training that we go through and all of the other things. So it's kind of amazing when you think about it. At the age of 18, you're pretty much given absolute power to do anything you want. You're given absolutely everything in this sense of like the military and industrial complex of what they consider to be power. So yeah, it was very interesting. I immediately after training was tasked to one of the most deployed squadrons in the entire United States military. So if the special forces were going in, we were taking them in. If we had to get in and get people out or bring in supplies and run logistics, we were doing that as well. And I found myself in the desert. I was in Saudi Arabia. We were watching it was called Operation Northern Watch. So we were watching the no-fly zones. So we were entering Iraq when we were not in Iraq just yet. Okay. Yeah, so it was interesting. It was a very interesting career. I loved it, of course. I mean, who wouldn't? It's just pure adrenaline constantly. My goodness, you get kind of addicted to that stuff. You really do. And then the last combat deployment that I was on was Kosovo. We were in Yugoslavia during Milosevic in 1999. So it wasn't a war because Congress would not declare a state of war. However, the president, Clinton, at that time used his 60-day powers. And people don't know this. A lot of people don't know this. But the president can, at any point in time, send the special forces for 60 days without permission from Congress, from Senate, and whatever else. These are his executive powers. So that's what he did. He sent special forces, units, us, and everyone into that region for 60 days. And of course, we were there because of what Milosevic was doing. There was over 500,000 displaced refugees. There was ethnic cleansing going on. So of course we couldn't just sit by and watch this happen from halfway around the world. We had to do something. And that was, I still feel it in my body. It was probably some of the most disgusting things that I've seen of humanity. It was the worst side of humanity that I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen that much destruction. I've never seen that much death. Coming back with not the same number of people that you left with is one of the biggest things that hits us, of course, because once you remove all the idealism and all the things that you have joined for, the patriotism and all this stuff they really get you going for, you realize I'm really only here for this guy and this guy. I'm going to make sure he comes back. I'm going to make sure he comes back. I'm going to do my job and we are all going to come back home together. So all that idealism just drips right off of you once you get put into these combat units. And literally all you're trying to do is protect the man to your left and the man to your right. So it was an interesting dichotomy, right? Yeah. I found what true loyalty is. And it's one of those things that it's hard to describe. There's no way to describe the brotherhood that you find inside of the military. So, however, that job is not very loving, as we know. You know, it's not one that's built on love, acceptance, and understanding. It's it's built on a big stick and using it. So yeah, that was the last combat deployment for me. It was interesting too, because as we left, we got lit up by a SAM site, which is called a surface to air missile. We're in a cargo jet, right? It's called the C-130. This thing taking off is slow as a turtle. So if somebody were to shoot a missile at us, we're not getting away from this thing. It's going to catch us. So for 8 to 10 minutes, the alarms are just going off. The plane is all over the place. I'm in the back of the plane hitting what's called the pickle. And people have probably seen the pictures, of the cargo aircraft in the military with all the flares pouring out of it. That was my job. That was what I had to do whenever missiles were fired at us so that we could get away. So thankfully, they didn't shoot. They just did what they call painting us. They locked target just so they could scare the crap out of us, because the Serbians loved to do that at that point in time. Okay. Even if they weren't going to fire on you, they were going to let you know that they were there. They were going to let you know, we'll take you out if we have to, type of thing. So you can just imagine it's a 12 Richter scale earthquake. The plane is just all over the place. You're looking at special forces guys that have been in the worst, areas of the world. Ghost white. Everybody's vomit bags are coming out. Everybody's looking to me like, what's going on? I'm like, bro, I got no answers for you. I'm in on this like you are. I got nothing I can do except for this. That's all I can do.
Sorry. Because you're saying people watching or listening, like imagining I can only imagine because I never been there, thankfully. But I know the overall kind of illusion, imagination that you can think of, and it's happening in front of you. I mean, for you kind of sign up for it, right? But you'd never realize, oh my God, I'm here. And this is just those movies that we've watched, pretty much maybe just tiny of the truth. So because there are a lot of things that hide, right, or hidden. And I can only empathize because I've watched movie. It was Mending the Lane, I think. So it's about a guy who got off from the station as well, and most of his friends died. So he had to go through with the help. And the only way that he managed to pull through to overcome all of this trauma was the fishing. I don't know if you watched that. It's actually a very nice movie, but go on as you're going to be sharing the story.
No, you're fine. You're fine. It's a good point because it's hard to understand until you're actually in it. Because like you said, you can watch all the movie, but you can just imagine yourself. If people were to close their eyes and just imagine yourself inside of this container, and outside of this container are all the monsters you have ever thought of in your life, and they're just dancing around trying to get in at you. And that's literally what it feels like. I mean, there's everyone. There's not one combat veteran that I have talked to that does not have that initial, where you just freeze because you're like, oh my God, okay, they've been training me for this, here we go. And that's why they train us the way that we do, because they want us reactive. They don't want us thinking about it and responding. Yes. Yeah, it's very interesting. It was very interesting.
Yeah. But so you've have experienced this, and as many people watching or listening right now, that you have overcome that feeling, because I think, and I'm only hearing it because, first of all, I'm pretty new here in US, but I know that many coming from this wars, whether it's a huge or not, they're still going through with a lot of pain. And so share with us, as you get out of that, now, how do you overcome, or how do you transition that, okay, by the way, how did you even get out of that?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's, it's interesting because it takes work, right? As you know, it takes a lot of work to reprogram the nervous system, to reprogram the subconscious mind that runs absolutely everything. Which is why so many of us, when we get out of the military, fall into depression. There's, a high suicide rate with the military folks, because you just come home and you don't feel right. You don't feel welcome. You don't feel in place. You feel like a monster amongst, the sheep. Not in a bad way. I'm not saying sheep is in a bad way, but I mean, you feel like the wolf amongst, the sheep. You're like, okay, I don't fit in with these people. I am not the same. I am a monster, and I'm here in society. So there's a lot of self-guilt, a lot of shame. A lot of that comes from survivor's guilt. It really does. A lot of it does. The combat situations for us, yes, they can hit us. But the biggest thing that hits us is going with a certain number and only coming back with a few of them. So for many, that is what they're left with. And that's a tough one to get over. For me, when we came back, we were given a 3-day pass, which is called R&R, rest and relaxation. So that's when they tell us, like, go be stupid, just go blow the steam out of your butt. Let's let go of everything that you just let go. Right. So, and we did. We went out to the lake, and we can't do the simple things. It's got to be high rev. So we got a really, really fast boat and an inner tube, and that's what we were doing, to just kind of blow off steam. Well, unfortunately, we were going a little too fast, and as the boat cut left, I was flung off of this inner tube like a slingshot. And all I remember is the water coming up at high speed, and then that was it. I was gone, lights out. And at that point in time, I didn't know it then, but I was dead. I had snapped my neck at C1 and C2. There was a compression injury on my spinal column that shut everything down. I stopped breathing, my heart stopped, and I was floating face down in the water. Well, thankfully I had on a life vest. I was smart enough to at least do that. So at least I was,
okay.
we weren't completely stupid. We were just a little stupid.
Still wearing vest. That's a good one
Yeah,
for protection.
yeah, we knew that we would potentially be hurting ourselves, so maybe we should put on some protective equipment.
And also, you're not meant to die yet. That's
There
why.
was that. There was that, right? Yeah, exactly. Destiny and all of those things. I was not meant to expire at that point in time. Thankfully, again, watching the man to your left and your right, I had my brothers with me. My brother Tony ripped over on his wave runner, pulled me out of the water and wore me like a belt as he just tore on to the shore. And this is in Arkansas, Little Rock, Arkansas, which is where we were stationed, the Rock. Thankfully, again, no coincidence, right? There is a state trooper sitting right there where he pulled up onto the shore. So 7 or 8 people carry me onto the shore off of the wave runner. And immediately this guy just hopped in and started with his resuscitation. And at that point, that's when I had my first out-of-body experience. And it was the most peaceful thing I had ever experienced in my life. The only way I could describe it is isness. Is just everything and nothing all at once. There was no thoughts, there was no wants, there was no needs or concerns. Absolute peace. Yeah, it was just everything wrapped into one moment. Like I felt like I came home, which is why my breath technique is labeled the welcome home method.
Okay, got it.
When you do it, you get to that place, like I'm sure you've experienced.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, oh my God, I could live here forever. So yeah, that was that experience. And from there, it was an interesting contrast as you have this just surreal, peaceful experience. And then all of a sudden slam back down into my body in the ambulance and wake up with a horse collar around your neck. And of course there's beeps and buzzers and all this thing going off. And I'm confused, like, what the heck just happened? Like, where am I? What is going on? What's happening? And the EMT himself, too, is even asking, can you feel that? Can you feel that? And finally, when I come to, I'm like, what are you talking about? Can I feel that? And he says, oh, no, which you don't want to hear your doctor say. You don't want to hear your EMT say that. And that's when I tuned in. I was like, oh, my God. Okay, hold on a minute. Where are my arms? Where are my legs? Why can't I feel my chest? Why is it tough to swallow? Why is it tough to breathe? Like it's hard to breathe right now. I can barely even breathe. And when we got back to the hospital, that's when they did the MRI and found that I had this silver dollar size contusion on the upper spinal column, right up at C1, C2. So that is what shut absolutely everything down. And this is in 1999. So you can imagine the stories the doctors were telling me at the age of 19 of the possibilities of getting it back and all of these other things. So, I mean, these guys vacuumed hope right out of the room for me, basically, by telling me, you can't heal nerve tissue. You're kind of stuck with this. Even if you get it back, I can't promise you're going to get it all back. You might only get a little back. It was a very interesting place to be. And then all of a sudden, SEER training kicked in. And it was kind of funny how the military training is what saved me in this instance, because I could follow the doctor's orders, which many do. I work with spinal cord injuries. And unfortunately, because of the doctors vacuuming hope out of the room, many of them just get in a wheelchair, give up, and they think that's it. I'm stuck. Yeah. Doc said, I'm stuck. So they take it. Me, I was a little different. It took me a couple of days to really kind of tune into it, but I kept hearing, we're coming for you. Resist. Keep resisting. Try to escape. You're not forgotten. You're not alone. There's something else you can do. Keep trying. And in the middle of one of the doctor's speeches, I just lost it and went off on him like, no, this is not going to be my life. And in that moment, I got this whoosh of energy going all the way down my scalenes to the very edges of my shoulder. And immediately, of course, my eyes opened. I perked up. I was like, what the hell was that? I cut him off, sent my friends in. And from that point forward, I knew something was possible. Here's this guy telling me, I'm not getting it back. I'm stuck. We're putting in wheelchair ramps. We're going to get all these special things for you and everything else. And then I feel what he tells me is not possible within the first couple of days. And that was it. That's all I needed to hear. And as we know, when the student is ready, the teacher shall appear. The next day, my physical therapist walks in, and it's the one male physical therapist that the military gives me, but he's also an Ashtanga yogi. So he's not just a doctor, he's the yoga side of things. And he was the one that introduced me to yoga at that point in time. And you can imagine too, right? He walks into the room, I'm laying on my back. I'm just shy of my 20th birthday, and he starts talking about yoga. And I'm like, dude, if I can move my legs out, kick you in the throat right now. Yoga, that's funny, doc. That's pretty funny. Thanks for giving me a laugh today. And then once I calmed down, I realized, oh, this guy's serious. Like, hold on, bro. How am I going to do yoga? I'm paralyzed. And that's when he imparted on me that 90 to 95% of yoga is all pranayama, which is breath control, and mindset. All of it. Out of 196 different sutras in yoga, only 4 of them are about all the asanas that you see, all the physical postures that you see. That helps the body, but the majority of yoga is all breath and mindset. So yeah, he gave me my first experience, and that was like, wow, what did you just do to me? And in that moment, it kind of felt like, the out-of-body experience. So again, like that was it. I dug in like a tick from that point forward. And for me, getting past all the things that I had got through in the military, including what I was dealing with at that point in time, I had no idea that breath was going to be such a huge piece of my journey. But my God, I dug in. I was doing breath work probably 5-6 hours a day. I had nowhere else to go.
Yes.
What else was I going to do, right? I didn't have anything to do. I'm laying in bed. Why not? Let's do this.
I was about to say that, when the universe, God, whatever you call it, they will really give you the space to do it. They will take it away. Okay, you have no excuse, son. Do it now.
Exactly. That is like such the best point. Yeah, that was, and I look at it that way too, right? Because I was getting really good at what I did in the military. I was one of those guys that liked it a little too much. So this was the universe's way of going, yeah, you're not supposed to do that. We've got something else for you to pay attention over here.
Yeah.
But I want you to take all of that no quit attitude and power that you have and put it into this instead.
Yes.
Yeah. It was kind of interesting how the universe put me in that position. Like I always tell people too, it's funny. The universe will do that, right? It whispers, then it gets a little louder, then it gets a little louder, and then wham, it'll put you down until you recognize, like, I've been trying to get you to pay attention to this thing. Pay attention.
Yes. I know what you mean. I think I'm a very obedient person. I can tell that. But at the same time, being a high performer, you coming from military, you just want to do something on and on and on and on. And then when you're in the position of really, why am I here? Those big questions. And then suddenly things slowly what you said, subtle. Okay, I'm going to give you some pale feeling or taste. And then when you're still stubborn, then the moment that let go. In the beginning, I was resisting because what is this? I've been always a believer. So it's not a problem for me to believe that there's beyond us exist here helping us. But not giving away that control here on this planet Earth, I just couldn't until I said, well, you know what? I think the word surrender.
There you go.
I must surrender. And then the moment I surrender, that's where you said, now I know how you call your method welcome home. I'm telling you, I feel at peace. In the beginning, I told to my husband, is it strange to feel this? Because, I want to share this to people. And at the same time, seeing a lot of people experiencing the trauma, the depression, and all of that. That's why, just like you, very, very dedicated to share and express to people that we've got the power within us. But the word, we have to surrender. So go on with your story.
No, it's perfect. I think you said the best word in the universe, the most powerful word in the universe, surrender, which is so tough for us, like you said, as high performers and a military guy. Like, I don't know the word surrender. That's not allowed. I don't ever do that type of, you know what I mean? But once I found that surrender and have continued to tune into surrendering to the process, which is just everything you ever need to do. You may not like the situation, and you can continue to ruminate on that and think on what you're dealing with and negatively dig yourself into that pit even further. Or you can recognize you've been given an interesting and unique situation. And now the only thing that you need to do is surrender to the process, whatever that process is for you, and allow yourself to move through so you can actually shake whatever you're working on free, which is interesting, because it's always, most of us try to numb it or run from it or all these other things. And the moment you surrender, you find peace. Yeah. Like instantly. It may not fix the situation. It may not fix the problem that you're working on. But the moment, I know you know what I'm talking about. The moment you surrender, you're like, oh God, okay, there it is. Yeah. So I surrendered completely in that moment. And it took me about 2 years. Within the first 2 months, I got about 60% of my upper body back. I couldn't really move fingers and digits, but I was able to lift my arms. I was able to like flap my hands at least. So there was a lot of things happening for me that just allowed it to be super easy to just keep going, because every day I got a piece back. Now, here's the other thing I will say. When you're working on yourself, there's going to be times you take a step back. That's normal. That's absolutely normal. It's the cha-cha-cha life. And in those 2 years of rediscovering my body and learning how to reactivate these systems, though they said it was impossible, the more that I dove into this, there were those moments, of course, the body pushes back, you have a bad day, that moment leaving the combat zone would play over and over again in my head when I closed my eyes. So there were moments, of course, where that real challenge comes in for the 2 words that I focus on the most: consistency and persistence. It's gonna get tough. It's gonna get hard. Your brain's gonna tell you, I want to quit. Your body's gonna tell you, I can't do this anymore. And if you are just consistent and persistent and allow yourself to continue to work on it day in and day out, the smallest of steps are what lead to the biggest of leaps, right? A journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. And if you can just take that one step each and every day, it gets easier and easier and easier. It really does. Even when the tough moments hit you, right? Because then you have all of this track record to prove to yourself, okay, this is just a challenging day. It's okay. This too shall pass. And I'm going to be right back on top.
Well, which actually, that's a very, very good point to dive deeper, which is the giving away your power, right? Because you have observed many people have this tendency, if not subconsciously, giving away their power outside, looking for reasons and answers. And of course, I know, based on my experience, why I became like that. So I'm super curious, with your observation and from your own experience, what do you think that causes this? And you have mentioned earlier multiple times that you resist with what people, or I have the same experience as yours, where doctor kept on telling me that you can't because of your condition. And I'm like, no, no. So how did you learn to own your true power? Share with us.
Yeah. It's, again, consistency and persistence, like you, right? Just remembering that no matter what he says, no matter what this thing does to me, no matter what happens in life, that I am the one that gets to choose where I go next. And it takes a little while sometimes, because as silly humans, we forget. We do. We're meant to forget, I think. That's the way I look at this world. This is a spiritual training ground. We are meant to forget that we are part of God itself, that we are part of the universe itself. We are the universe experiencing itself. So we're meant to forget these things. So since we forget, it's super easy, especially in this society, especially in the Western societies. I'm not downing on the Western culture, but especially in the Western culture, everything is taught to you externally. Listen to your doctor, listen to your mom and dad, which yes, you have to listen to your mom and dad, but then eventually, like you said, you just end up giving away your power. It just becomes a program. I'm so used to doing what the doctor tells me to do. I'm so used to doing what my mom and dad tell me what to do. We're authority figures. So we just get into this psychological rut, right? Which is what psychology and neuroscience is all about. It's all about patterns. Yeah. And that pattern is super strong in most everybody in this society. What I tell people though is, again, consistency and persistence. If you can just override that program every time it pops up, you don't have to beat it. You just override it. You just disagree with it. You just remind yourself of what you want and your intention, no matter what that voice says, no matter what that authority figure tells you is possible, then in those moments you can program yourself. And it really only takes about 7 to 10 days to start really shifting that synaptic activity into yes versus no.
And, while I'm listening to you, I think because between you and I, it's super easy to express it because we've gone through that. Yeah. But from what I have observed and seen is that persistency and consistency, we know these words. We know. Many Western would know. I know that word. But I think what is lack is just to surrender. Let go. How to say, we have so many programming from the childhood all the way to, especially for those people who have really built that authority and giving away, because we have this tendency that if we allow to surrender, it means that we are giving away our power too, right? But it's not like that. And this is why I love where I'm coming from, that I have this Western mentality, but also root from Asian, so I combine it, that I can use the mind and the body, but also knowing that there's beyond us here. And so I think many Western, and correct me if I'm wrong, that many Western believe that there has to be information first to prove that it exists, then I will do it. But that's the reason why you yourself, you're doing it, and many teachers, because that's the only way for many of us to encourage that, just tiptoe, give that first step, and there's a proof. But for you to really transform, you have to let go of that power outside, but give yourself a power within you that there's someone will help you. Yeah. Does that make sense to say all of those things?
No, it does. It does. And you're spot on, because in the Western cultures, like you've said, it's all based on peer-based evidence. And, where's the proof? I want to see the proof. We need the George Bannisters, right? The 4-minute mile. Once he made it possible, other people started doing 4-minute miles. So in that same way, that's where a lot of our teachers, like Dr. Joe, for me and for many folks, or whoever your mentor or teacher is that you learn from, they're pioneers. They've done what you're looking to do. And I love that you continue to mention the word surrender, because what they have done is figured out what surrender is, right? And like you said, many of us, especially in the Western cultures, look at surrender as putting up the white flag. Here we go. I'm giving up. Arms up in the air. I surrender. When in fact, it's not anything like that. Yeah. Surrender itself is literally just speaking to turning into the river. You've been swimming upstream for so long. Aren't your arms tired? Just turn and surrender with the flow and watch what happens when you move through these things, which is super powerful. A lot of people, I think, what we miss in the Western culture especially, and I'm like you, right? I started out on the Eastern side of things before I went the master's in neuroscience and neurochemistry route. I went yoga, qigong, breathwork, and Eastern medicine and all these amazing things. And then I brought in the Western side of it. And like you now, I'm merging the two to make sure people know that these two worlds belong together. It's not East versus West. It's these people have known things for thousands of years. And this is what I try to tell people in America, especially. It's like, bro, this country's 250 years old. We might have some things to learn from the folks that have been around for a few thousand years. They kind of have things figured out. So, and it's funny too, because now as a scientist, the peer-reviewed information is just proving what the Eastern cultures have known for thousands and thousands of years. So yeah, it's an interesting thing because many of us, especially in the Western culture, we don't want to deal with the downside of things. We don't want to move through the fire, but that's where the power is. Surrendering into what's happening right now, even if it sucks right now. Even if it sucks every lemon on the planet right now, allowing yourself to move through that is how you're going to find the surrender, because then eventually you're not going to be so rigid. It doesn't have to look a specific way. It doesn't have to feel a specific way. You're just moving with intention and with that consistency and persistence, which I think a lot of us get caught in, right? I know I did. Maybe you did in the beginning too. It has to look this way. It has to feel this way. It has to sound like this. Yeah.
Yes. And as I was listening to you, I mean, for many people watching or listening right now, look at Leland himself. I am just assuming that back then, many years ago, you're just like this.
You're not lying. Yeah. Nail on the head.
But now, since you understand the life itself, it's a combination of everything, you know. And I love you mentioned earlier as well to forget things. This is what I've learned from, I don't know if you have read the Tao Te Ching, you know.
No,
that
I have to.
It's beautiful. I mean, I have to read two translations because it's just so deep, but I get the essence. It's really detaching. And so that's what I've been practicing, detaching. And because it takes a lot of consistency and persistency, therefore, once you get there, it's just incredible because you don't see anything bad at all, because bad and good, it's a combination. We have to experience everything. And so, yeah, for people watching or listening, if Leland can do it, myself can do it. There's no way that you can't do it because we are here together. Your power is your power. You have everything you have within you, and nobody can take that away. And I think it goes to the conversation where our social media really burning us into comparison. And for me, it's like, don't compare yourself to anyone out there because you have your own power. Now, if you don't know how to own your power, well, here we are having a conversation with Leland. And I think it's a great way to segue your welcome home method, right? And because you have already discussed why you come up with that term or with that name, which I want to ask you earlier. How did you come up with that welcome home? But I'm super curious, how did you come up with this approach? And how do you think that this approach or method can really help people begin to transform, reconnect with their true, authentic, and superpower life?
Yeah, I love this question so much. Oh my goodness. Like I mentioned, you know, I started out on the Eastern side of things. So I really got heavy into the breath work. I've learned from Wim Hof. I've learned from Stan Grof.
Wow.
I've learned from some of the greatest out there. And then once I started to really dive in to the how did I do that, right? I knew why I walked again because I wasn't going to accept anything else. But I wanted to figure out how now. And that's where the Western side of things came in. That's where I allowed myself to go back to school, get my bachelor's in psychology, now working on my master's in biomedical neuroscience with a forthcoming doctorate in neurochemistry.
Wow.
And it all is, I'm using all of it, which is amazing to prove again, all these things that these breath and yoga masters knew forever. And it's absolutely amazing to see that when you do something as simple as something like the welcome home method, you're activating, creating, and reactivating over 1,500 different chemicals and compounds inside of your body. This is the most used part of your body. And we just don't connect with it very often, especially in the Western culture, right? We do exercise, we diet, we do all these other things, but we do not affect our breath ratios and the intervals of our breathing. And that is literally everything. So once I started diving into this, I recognized that the rhythmic breathing capacity is right here in your brainstem. It's literally inside the bottom part of your medulla oblongata, which is the very bottom part of your brainstem, which controls everything, right? That's the reptilian side. That's the survival. That's where the fight or flight comes from. And if you can tap in and shift the rhythm of your breath, the signals coming from these survival instincts and parts of your body will completely shift into rest and digest. They turn off from their fight or flight and looking for, danger, 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 and immediately everything becomes this internal sense, and you can really feel it in your body. Now, the coolest part is as I've gotten into this further and further, what we're also recognizing is your body is kicking out these things like something called BDNF. It's called brain-derived neurotrophic factor. It's literally the protein that your body creates to create your brain and your spinal column. So when you were a little egg inside of your mom's belly, your body is producing high amounts of brain-derived neurotrophic factor because it's forming your spine and it's forming your brain. Now we know through the Welcome Home method, and there's other modalities out there that can help you do it as well. You can increase these trophic factors on command. You don't have to wait until you go to sleep for your body to repair itself. You can put it into that repair state. I mean, the Nepalese monks that I've studied for the past few years while I was doing, my bachelor's in psychology and working on neuroscience as well, I want to go study them more. Actually, when I'm working on my doctorate, I'm actually going to be working with some of them for my thesis. Beautiful. Because they already have it figured out. These guys can sit there for, 8 to 12 hours a day. And there's sometimes they go 4 months without food. There's sometimes they go a month and a half without drinking a sip of water. Now, as far as we're told, that's impossible. You're dead. You cannot live without water for longer than 3 to 4 days. You can't live without food for longer than 3 to 4 weeks before your body starts to metabolically shut down. However, here's these guys sitting there for weeks and months and not moving and doing nothing other than controlling the rhythm of their breath and surrendering into the moment. It's absolutely magical. So that's what I've done with this Welcome Home method, is pulled pieces of that knowledge and mixed it with, like you mentioned, a lot of the nerdy evidence-based science. So it's like, here's the woo-woo side of it for you, and here's the Western side. So it does work and you can surrender in. Because I do notice that when I tell people, look, we're going to do a breath that's literally going to reactivate some of the most healing chemicals inside of your body, they immediately surrender right in, especially if they're dealing with something. So it's been really amazing, and I'm excited to further this as we continue to do research on specific breath patterns and what it does for the body.
Hey, beautiful souls, quick message. If you're looking for support on your personal or professional journey, whether it's through coaching, singing, or speaking at your next event, I'm here to support you all the way to rediscover your authentic voice, empower your life, and be unstoppable. Let's connect and see how we can work together. Schedule a call with me. Now, if you would love to sponsor our Empower Your Life show with yours truly, we would be thrilled to partner with you. Simply reach out or contact us at contact@cindymarie.net, or the link is available in the description below. Thank you so much for listening. Now let's go back to the episode. I'm super excited for the journey that you're taking continuously. Just amazing, because that's how much a proof that you're very dedicated and passionate as well of serving people, because you realize that this is the power. I think the more that you recognize that it gives you more power, the more that you want to give it away, right? That's exactly what we've been doing, that we are here to really connect and help one another. And like what you said, you're one of the pioneers. So you are here to help us. But before we dive in deeper for this welcome home method, the meditation, the breath work, let's talk a little bit more. And I think this is not many, like teachers, facilitators, gurus, coaches, mentors talk about living in a special journey called entrepreneurial world. Right? And so, Leland, I'm super curious. Like, how do you calm? We know already, but just in case, the mind and the body, especially when you're going through these challenging moments, something new for you and for me, myself, in entrepreneurial. Like, how do you help yourself to stay grounded? Also reconnect or connecting with your true self and your mission and purpose, especially with the world we're living. It's getting busier and noisier.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that has helped me the most through all of my journeys, especially being an entrepreneur, because those of you that know that it's not exactly the easiest thing to do. It's fun, it's rewarding, but of course, getting yourself going, it's a new way of being, right? Consistency and persistence, yeah, but if you're a fresh entrepreneur, there's no consistency or persistence to base it on. So now you're creating a brand new way of being for yourself.
Yeah.
So for me, 60 seconds to freedom, which is this minute long, it's less than a minute long technique that I've used, is something I dive in and use whenever the voice starts to speak up, right? Oh, nobody's gonna come in on that thing. They're not gonna like that. You're not doing that right. You messed that one up. All of the exactly. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. When all the voices start happening, inevitably, it's going to happen. If you're an entrepreneur, you're going to hit tough points. And they don't have to be like really, really tough points. The toughest points for me have always been, like you said, those la, 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 all these things going on and voices in my head. And when I can just allow myself to close down all of the noise, all of a sudden signal comes back up. And that's a neuroscience principle that I use for people. It's like what's happening right now is you're stressed out. You might even be a little frightened of the future, and you are potentially thinking about giving up because it's hard. It is tough. In those moments, those are the moments I allow myself to just shift my breath patterns, take less than a minute, and let all of that just drift away and remember, oh, yeah, I know why I'm doing this. And since I know why I'm doing this, I'm going to continue to do this no matter how hard it gets. And then you get to this point where you don't look forward to the challenges, but when they present themselves, you're like, oh, I got this. I don't know how, but I got this. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to work through this process. I'm going to come out the other side. So yeah, the breath always has been the connecting and the clearing for me, especially inside of the entrepreneurial. Whenever those voices start, allow yourself to shift your breath and watch how the mind settles back down. The monkey mind kind of sits down for a minute and lets you actually get something done or to think of something. And that's usually when those aha moments happen, you know.
And Leland, I'm curious about this that just suddenly came to mind to ask you. In what percentage do you think that support system will be helpful for you and doing it and being on your own?
Oh my goodness, support system. I would put 80-90% up there at the top. Like your inner circle, your influence, the people that you hang around, the people that you talk to, the people that you allow inside of your space are what your programs are going to be run off of, right? There's so many mentors out there that they talk about the rule of five. I worked with Dean Graziosi for a while, and he's a big one on the rule of five. The 5 people that you hang out with, talk to, or are around the most, you will automatically become those people because your brain is recording all of these things, whether you realize it or not. So if you're talking to negative people, if you're talking to people that I can't, it's going to be your story too. It's just automatically. So support structure is, I think, top. It's like number one key. If you're going to move into becoming an entrepreneur, make sure you have people around you that say, yes, oh yeah, that's possible. I don't know how you're going to do it, but I can't wait for you to figure it out. I'm here to help you if you need it. Those are the people you want in your life, not the, no, that's not going to work.
Well, it's great to hear because I think that rule of five, something that not many people also find it very easy to let go, especially if there's already a great foundation. But I always say to people, if you're serious to really forget about, I always highlight this, forget about the financial part, because abundance and prosperities come within. If you're living with scarcity, that you're doing it for the sake of that, guess what? It's not going to happen, right? So build the entrepreneurial world as your investment to reach to your higher self and your support system. And I'm very intentional when it comes to the support system, because that's the only way for you to attract the right people. Meaning to say, you also have to be willing and open to let go. Let go, let go, let go. And I know it's difficult. I know it's easy. It's not easy because I've been there. Leland been there. I'm sure that you, Leland, have gone through a lot of separation with a lot of people that at some season, it's good. We exchange great moments, but now we have to be serious in a playful way to live in a more meaningful and purpose life. And thank you for sharing that. And I thought to add that as well, because I believe, based on my observation and seeing people, the challenge in entrepreneurial world is sticking with the old version of yourself. But if you're really serious with your journey to serve people, you've got to let that go. What do you say?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. I am one of those, as I've learned now, to set very healthy boundaries, even and especially with family. Like you said, you hold on to your friends. Yes, you grew up with them. I know you grew up with them. You love them, but they might not be in the space to be able to support you as you move forward. So it's very important to let that go, as you mentioned. And here's the thing. Everybody looks at it and they're like, oh, what? You just cut people out of your life? No, it's just that I don't spend as much time with those folks. I don't spend as much time talking to those folks, because I understand once I start a conversation with them, it's going to go down a very different path that's going to take me a different way. So it's just all about setting those healthy boundaries for yourself. And it's tough because like we talked about, your friends and your family, they've been there since you were a kid. Yeah. It's so hard. You want to take everyone with you. You want to take everyone with you on this journey. That's impossible. You can't do that. There's not enough space. So you have to focus on you, because if you've got a mission that is built on helping others, the only way you can help others is to make sure that you have this handled first. And if you don't have you handled first, if you don't have the ability to cut off the outside noise and in a very loving and healthy way, allow people to phase out of your life, then you won't allow the new space that you're looking for to create. You're going to continue to hold on to the old. Well, then you can't have the new. You can't have both at the same time. You either A, step back into what you know, or B, you step forward into the unknown, which is where you find your power. That's where you find your purpose. That's where everything is found. Your soul is found in the unknown.
Ooh, that's wonderful to hear. And I think, Leland, this is the perfect moment to calm the mind and body. And what do you say if maybe we be given a chance to, led by you, the breathwork and meditation, so that the audience and myself, I'm going to be your student for now. I promise to follow along. And shall we do it today?
Yeah, I would love to. Absolutely.
Yeah, but before we start, for people watching or listening right now, and correct me if I'm wrong, Leland, we recommend for you to watch the video instead, so you can see how Leland guides us through the steps. And also clearing my nose. Let me
yes.
make sure.
Get your booger blankets and blow your nose, because if you don't do it now, you're going to wear it while we practice.
To make sure that my nose is clear. So that's another suggestion for you guys. And the mic is yours, Leland.
Awesome. Awesome. So before we jump in, what I'll do is I'm going to turn on this original sound so you can hear my breath patterns. I'm going to give you an example of the breath that we're going to do. And part of what we're going to do is something called cyclic hyperventilation. We're doing this on purpose to elevate and increase the oxygen in the body. So the key is no pauses. Don't let the body pause. It naturally wants to, right? You take a pause before you exhale. We're not going to do that. We're going to breathe. Now notice there's a little lift in my shoulders, but it's more so because I'm opening up and allowing the oxygen to come in. All of this is coming from my belly though, okay? So watch again. Everything working from the belly. That way we can actually use our diaphragm, which is meant to help us fill up our lungs, okay? So those are the breath patterns. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take us through a few of them. One's gonna be in and out through the nose. And then the other one that I'm going to take us through is something called a physiological sigh. So you're going to inhale and sigh with sound, all right? So it sounds like this. So you're creating that sound and vibration, which is like a car wash for your nervous system. It's amazing. It just ripples through everything and lets go of all those old programs. Just wanted it kind of nice and light. You should still be able to hear me okay?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, by the way, I'm trying to be far away from my mic because of the breathing, so it won't disturb the rest of the people watching or listening.
It's okay. You might actually help them. There's sometimes in my breath tracks that I'll put somebody breathing behind it, and people have told me like that really helped because I stopped. So yeah, you might actually help people because sometimes people that they naturally stop. So just allow yourself to settle in. Let your hands rest on your knees. Maybe let your eyes soften or close, whatever feels comfortable for you. And focus on your heart. And imagine your breath is flowing in and out of your heart or chest area. Breathing a little deeper and a little slower than usual. You can inhale for 5 seconds and exhale for 5 seconds. Keep the breath even on the inhale and exhale. And anchor in a feeling of inner ease. Tune into that stillness. With every breath, you tune into your heart. Notice any messages for you. Give yourself permission to breathe with sound and power. Let yourself do something a little different. Allow yourself to move into this like a child, exploring, discovering, and playing as we breathe in and out of the nose. Breathe in all the way to the top and hold for just a moment. Let your shoulders fall. Release your face. Breathing in and out of the nose through the mouth. Exhale all the way. In through the nose, out through the nose, in through the nose, out through the nose, in through the nose, out through the nose, in, out, with power, with sound, allowing yourself to keep the breath continual and steady. moving from inhale to exhale, inhale to exhale. I know you're feeling the tingles, the tension, the warmth in the body, all signs that you're activating systems and processes to refresh and recalibrate, activating genetic expression. Continue to breathe. Give yourself permission to push past what the body tells you is possible. Just a few more breaths as you continue in and out, and in and out. Lean into that power coming forward. Lean in to that feeling, proof that you're headed the right direction. And last one, in, out. Breathe in all the way to the top and hold. All the way up and hold. Swallow down. Shoulders fall. Face release. Go on that journey as you let go of tension. Very slowly exhale all the way down and hold for just a moment, allowing the carbon dioxide to open arteries and veins, allowing the blood to become supple. And in 3, 2, 1, breathe in all the way up. Open up your mouth and sigh it out as you let go. Feel that cascade moving through your body, that wave of energy and compound, healing and refreshing. Allow your organic breath to be a little deeper and a little slower. You sink into that feeling. You are powerful. You are perfect, whole, and complete. You are the universe itself in action and in play. And we move in once again, this time breathing in through the nose and a sigh through the mouth with that sound and vibration. Let that inner 5-year-old come forward and be noisy and playful. Breathe in all the way to the top and hold for just a moment. Shoulders fall, breathing in through the nose and a sigh through the mouth. Exhale all the way. In through the nose, sigh it out. In through the nose, sigh it out. In through the nose, sigh it out. Keep it continual and steady, allowing that breath to be powerful. I know you feel that intensity already in the nasal passages, activating those nerve endings, connecting with the emotional seat of your consciousness. Every inhale and sigh, allowing the creation of over 1,500 chemicals and compounds, shifting the state of the brain, allowing the body to let go of what no longer serves you. Continue to breathe. What you're feeling is normal. Lean into that power, allowing the body to cleanse and purify. Every inhale and sigh, creating that alkaline environment within your body, purifying the tissues and blood. Continue to breathe. You're almost there. Everything you're feeling is that power of the divine that you hold, your birthright here and now. And just one more. Breathe in all the way up and hold. Swallow down. Shoulders fall. Face release. Welcome home. Where can you let go of tension? To allow the body to melt. And you can continue to hold. And when you're ready, slowly start to exhale. As you feel that dance of beautiful energy moving through the body, shifting and cleansing, allowing the body to hand out all of that beautiful programming, all of that brand new oxygen. As you breathe a little deeper and a little slower than usual. And remember all that you feel. And remember all that you've seen and heard. Very slowly, start to bring that back into a refreshed and revitalized body and mind. Free, centered, grounded. Take your time, very slowly and intentionally coming back. Be gentle with yourself. You just moved a lot of energy. As you come back in, you can wiggle fingers and toes. Kind of listen to the body right now. Maybe even want one of those good morning stretches, whatever is called for right now, whatever you're feeling. And welcome home.
Ooh, I was moving there. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I just want to process that.
Yeah, let that soak in.
It's so good. So good. It's an awe. It's a fascination because Leland, you have no idea. While I was listening to your instruction, I was like, is it real? That this is Leland now instructing me live on virtual as I was just listening to your meditation and breath work, and here we are doing it together. So thank you for that. Really appreciate.
My pleasure.
Did I do correct? I think I didn't. But
Oh, yeah, you did. I can tell you did. Yeah, you were in a blissful place. Yeah. You did it perfectly.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, I just know, and I told you this prior to this interview, how much powerful the meditation and breath work. And so part of that is really embodying it more intensely. And really, it's just wonderful how really we forgot to breathe properly. And this is one thing that we have to work on more and more every single day of our lives. And experiencing that today is such an amazing gift. And I know based on this experience that we all have by your guidance, I know based on today how you keep yourself moving forward, and you've gone through a lot in your life and still moving forward because of your purpose and mission. But I'm not sure, actually, if you're an optimist person, because I do. I don't want to assume, because a lot of people have a different interpretation in different forms or ways. And so if you're an optimist, what else Leland practice or share to people that helping him to stay grounded and focusing on reconnecting with your mission and purpose, especially for those people who are focusing on healing and personal growth, whatever that is, however you define moving forward and with this mindset, what are those things that you could share with us apart from the breathwork and meditation?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm definitely, I would consider myself an optimist. I know, of course, some people look at it and think that you're always positive. I don't look at being an optimist that way. I am an optimist because I know if I just, as we've talked about, surrender into whatever's happening right now, I know that I'm going to find my solution. So that for me is optimism, being optimistic about the possibilities and potentials inside of your life. So yeah, most definitely an optimist. And I would put myself as a pragmatist. I stay away from dogmatic. Belief is great. Belief in self is great. But the dogma that we all get caught in, because again, like we've talked about, they taught me this. This is what I've been learning my whole life. So I stay away from the dogmatic way of things and just stick with being more of a pragmatist, consistency and persistence. As long as I continue to move myself forward, the solution will present itself. I just have to let go of the how and the when.
Are you saying that for others to become as where you are right now is to letting go of those beliefs that we have learned in life and starting to tune in more into ourselves and know that there's a powerful voice within you and there's a powerful beyond us guiding us, waiting for us to be guided, and just the powerful word that challenging as well to practice and embody is surrender, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Let go. If there's one thing I could tell people, let go of how you think it's supposed to look. It's not going to look the way you think it's going to look. It's not going to feel the way you think it's going to feel. In fact, it's going to look and feel even better if you let go of that picture of it has to look this way. It has to feel this way. I have to make this much money at this much amount of time. Let go of all of that and watch what happens in your life. You will be pleasantly surprised.
Absolutely. Indeed. 100%, 1000%. And I know that time is precious and I enjoy so much of having this conversation with you. I think we can cover a lot of things. But sad to say at this moment, at this episode, we're gonna have soon to say goodbye to everyone, but definitely welcome to have Leland back to a different conversation, different journey, different style of breathwork and meditation. Now, Leland, for anyone who wants to know more of what you offer or join your programs or connect with you for support, where they can find you.
Sure. They can go to www.thewillfulwarrior.com. That's WILLFUL. I know that one even gets me sometimes when I'm typing. So yes. thewillfulwarrior.com. If you go to thewillfulwarrior.com, we have all of our programs, downloads, and also on YouTube. If we've got some free stuff on our YouTube that you can go check out. A minute-long video and a 5-minute practice, kind of similar to what we just did here. So yeah, if anyone wants to reach out, go to the website. It's got my email on there. It's got our community that you can connect with. Absolutely amazing community. So yeah, you'll find everything on the website there.
Yes. And as I always say to people watching or listening right now, the information will be available on our blog, also in the description, so you won't miss how to connect with Leland. And Leland, oh God, what an inspiring and empowering conversation that we have. And thank you once again from the bottom of my heart of having this opportunity of having you and also sharing your gifts to our community. And for those people watching or listening right now, if you find this episode resonated with you, share it so that other people could also have that hope, inspiration, and motivation to keep moving forward. And until next time, with yours truly, Cindy Marie, here to empower your life. Thank you. Thank you so much, Leland, for sharing your light and wisdom.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute joy.
Thank you so much for watching or listening to this episode with Leland. Remember that your healing and strength are always within you. Take the time to calm the mind, the body, trust the journey, and surrender and keep moving forward, even though things are getting challenging. By doing so, you can reclaim your power and live life that feels true to you. If you enjoyed this episode, share your thoughts with us, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share it to someone who might need it. Follow our podcast, leave a review, and help us grow so we can reach and empower more people's lives. Until next time, stay optimistic, stay curious, and don't forget to have fun. Believe in yourself. You've got what it takes to pursue your dreams and make a positive impact. Keep going and be unstoppable.